I would like to welcome everyone today to the State Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, February 14th, 2023.
Valentine's Day.
I know, that's right, and happy Valentine's Day. So I would like to ask Dr. O'Shields if he would please lead us in the pledge.
If everyone would please stand at this time. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
As we begin, I do ask all board members or speakers to please speak directly in the microphone so that we can accurately transcribe the minutes for today's meeting, I'm sorry. That being said, we will move on to approval of the minutes. Is there any objection to approving the minutes as presented for the January 17th, 2023 regular meeting and the public hearing that followed that meeting? Hearing none, the minutes are approved by unanimous consent. Is there any objection to approving the agenda as presented for today's board meeting? Hearing none, the agenda is approved by unanimous consent. We do welcome everyone in attendance today and anyone who has called in to listen to the meeting, and we greatly appreciate your interest in public education. We do have some visitors, but I'm going to save that for when Superintendent Weaver speaks in just a few moments. We also have several new board members joining us today. We have Dr. Joette Johnson, and she is here now representing the 7th Judicial Circuit, and that includes Spartanburg and Cherokee counties. We are so glad that you're here with us. Thank you. We also have Dr. Christian Hanley, and he is representing Berkeley and Charleston counties. So we are so glad to have you joining us as well. And then finally, we have a third new member today, Mr. Richard Harrington, representing the 12th Judicial Circuit, and that is Florence and Marion counties. Thank you. We look forward to working alongside each of you. All right. I did want to let our board members know that we are going to have a board orientation on March 13th. That is the day before our next regularly scheduled meeting, and that will be from 1 to 3. And this is such a wonderful opportunity for our new members to truly understand how things work within the Board of Education, but also for any of our members to have a refresher. So we do recommend that everyone attend if they are able. We would love to have everyone in person. We will have availability for you to do that virtually if you can't attend in person, but we do hope you all can. We will also be doing dinner together later that evening. So if you could please make those plans, and we'll remind you through email as well. But we're looking forward to that. I also want to let you know that we do have a need for a special called board meeting to hear a student appeal of ineligibility for the South Carolina High School League. Tracy is going to be emailing you some possible dates for that. If you could look for that email, we do want to do that, hopefully within the next week, mainly because of the time sensitivity nature of what we will be hearing. So if you could look for that, and she will email you those dates, but we will do that special called meeting virtually.
Okay.
Okay. All right, then I will now like to give the floor to Superintendent Weaver for her report.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. When I delivered my first report to you a month ago, I was just a few days on the job. And so now at a month in, officially old pro at everything, I feel like it's a month that has been 10 years, but in the best possible way. I was sharing with a few of the board members over lunch that this I go home and I sleep well every night, but it's like a purposeful exhaustion. It is just again, the honor of a lifetime to be able to serve you all, to serve the students of this state in this role. And so just a little bit about what I've been up to. But first, I'd like to go ahead and introduce just a couple of staff members who were not here last board meeting, who have since joined the team. I'll start with Philip Cease. If you'll please stand, Philip. He is our Director of Government Relations, and he comes to us most recently from the Children's Trust, which is where he was doing a very similar kind of government relations strategy strategy role. Not here today, but someone who you should know is Lisa Manini-Widener, who is his assistant. She comes to us from the South Carolina Senate, worked for Senator Peeler and Senator Alexander, amongst others. And so she has a lot of experience up there at the State House, and so we're very excited to have her on the team as well. And then finally, I'd like to introduce our special assistant to our Chief of Staff, Carla Renfro. And I have to say a special thank you to Dr. Akil Ross at LR5. He allowed us to steal Carla from him, and he said if she can serve students at the department, so she brings a great perspective both with her background as a lawyer and most recently as a classroom teacher. So we are super excited to have her on the team and grateful for what she's going to be able to contribute to our mission here. So just a little bit about what I've kind of been out and about doing. I have had a number of meetings with our superintendents, both in their locales as well as through the School Boards Association here. Those conversations have been incredibly cordial, productive. I think we have found a lot of common ground and things that we're looking forward to pushing together over the years. I've been able to get into several schools. I've been in Orangeburg, I've been at R.B. Stahl in Charleston, and then I actually will be visiting a great school, elementary school in Greenwood tomorrow, and very excited. I'll get to see a literacy lesson and read to some students there, which I'm very, very excited about. But what I've really seen as the unifying theme of those visits is just the incredible principal leadership that is in each of these schools. And as I'll share a little bit later on with some of my budget priority requests, I think continuing to develop that principal leadership pipeline is really critical when we think about addressing our teacher recruitment and retention shortage, because we know that principals build the culture that teachers work in. And so fostering that great leadership is something that I think is an important role of this department and something that I'm excited to partner with our district cohorts on. One of the most special things that I've experienced over the last month, special and terrifying simultaneously, is when people recognize you when you are out in public. And so one of the I think most poignant times, I was actually getting ready to get my nails done, and I sit down in the pedicure chair, and the person next to me leans over and says, "You look like our new superintendent." And I get that all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." And it turns out she was a teacher, and we had just a wonderful conversation. And so everywhere I've gone, teachers have come up to me. Some seem very nervous. Others are just, go right for it. But those have been some of the greatest conversations, because I think they feel like they can share confidentially and confidently their experience. And I just ask them, what do you need your superintendent to know? And I've gotten some really exciting feedback and helpful feedback that way. So that's just a little bit about what I've been up to here at the department. Yesterday we released, or actually I believe today we released the school improvement designations for 2022. This is actually something that has been a point of great conversation with our superintendents, working very collaboratively to make sure that we are correctly and fairly applying the criteria that we are required to apply by our federal Every Student Succeeds Act plan, or ESSA in the parlance. And so we did release those yesterday for our schools of improvement. As you would expect, we did see that number increase due to COVID, but we are committed here at the agency to continuing to partner with schools to figure out how we address the learning loss that we know many of our students experienced. And so that was released yesterday. In my second week on the job, just after I spoke to you all, I was able to go before the House Ways and Means Subcommittee to present our budget priorities here at the agency for the year. And I carried over several of the priorities that Superintendent Spearman had already submitted, in addition to adding a few of my own. I wanted to call special attention to this handout that I gave to each of you, which is a one-pager that we have put together that outlines the investment that the General Assembly has made in really modernizing our school bus fleet. I think many of you will recall, not too distant past, we had what they call thermal incidents. I would call them a bus fire, and things that we just never want to have happen in terms of compromising student safety. And so this was a huge priority for Superintendent Spearman over her tenure, and I wanted the General Assembly to understand the return on investment that they are actually getting for those dollars that they have partnered with our department to allow us to modernize our bus fleet. You'll see on the back of it that we actually have now received the keys to our first electric bus. There is a lot of work that is going into building out the infrastructure required to support those buses, and a lot of collaborative partnerships with our utilities and local co-ops that we are building in order to make that possible. We also have some propane buses, and so you see that we are diversifying the fleet, and there's a lot of cost savings that are attributed to that efficiency that we're able to get. So that's for your own information, and again, those will be going to the members of the General Assembly this week so that they can kind of understand what we've been doing with all that money that they sent over to us. But just at a very high level, 52% of my request was for direct personnel salaries and support for teachers and bus drivers. 22% of my request was for our rural infrastructure fund. We've made a lot of progress in terms of supporting replacement and modernization of facilities in some of our rural districts that simply don't have the tax base to handle it all themselves. So I've asked the General Assembly to continue that investment so we can continue to make progress there, as well as maintain our bus replacement cycle, the 15-year replacement cycle. 16% of my budget is what I'd categorize as the innovation, transparency, and parent engagement. And I'll share just briefly kind of what that entails. 9% is devoted to high-quality instructional materials and support. At our last board meeting, we approved our new EL standards, and so we will be replacing that curriculum. And so continuing to ensure that we have high-quality curriculum that is aligned to our most current standards is something that we have to continue to do and invest in, and thankfully, we are up to date on that, and I want to stay up to date on that. And then finally, 1% of what we requested was to cover things here within the agency. We did not request any new FTEs or anything like that. So that's just kind of a high level. I wanted to dig in just very briefly on the ideas in our public school innovation fund. So we have a lot of non-recurring money at the state level this year. And I said, you know what? If I don't ask for the money, somebody else is going to. So I'm going to ask for the money, and we'll see where we end up. But the idea behind this innovation fund is for us to be able to create a competitive grant process, a coalition of the willing, if you will, that invites districts in to partner with us to test and pilot ideas that we think are best practice ideas that could really make a difference. And then for us to actually measure those pilots in a meaningful way to be able to report back to the General Assembly, this worked, this didn't work, maybe we should consider investing more money here strategically. And so strategic compensation for educators, y'all may have seen there was a great piece in the Post and Courier that they wrote about that a couple of weeks ago. I think that it just makes sense. Great teachers should get great pay. And again, we're not taking anything away from anyone. We are recommending a salary increase across the board for teachers, but this would help us incentivize and attract the best teachers to our highest needs areas. We know that a great teacher is what's really going to make a difference in the classroom for those kids, and we want to get great teachers into our highest needs classrooms. I mentioned to you all last time that the science of reading and improving literacy instruction is going to be a top priority for me. As we were talking about before the meeting, if a child can't read at the end of third grade, it just gets harder and harder and harder for them to do what they need to do to be successful in school. And so that early literacy instruction is going to be a top priority. And I actually am very excited to be able to continue my own learning. So we have invested in the LETTERS program for many of our teachers and hopes to see that expand in the coming year. And I have actually signed up to do that training myself. I'm really excited to see what our teachers are learning and to be able to talk to our teachers comprehensively about their learning journey and how they're applying that in their classroom to serve their students well. So very excited about that. We've talked briefly about the mentoring and tutoring core. I think engaging communities in our school is a way that we not only support students, but show teachers that the community has their backs. And then again, we talked a little bit about principal development. I'd love to develop some leadership programs that can really help foster that leadership pipeline for our principals. So I've gone on long enough, but just want to say thank you again for the opportunity to present these ideas to you. And I'm happy to answer any questions or move on from there. So
Thank you so much. Do any of our board members have any questions for Superintendent Weaver?
And I think I forgot an introduction too, while
Hey.
we are at it.
That's okay. I can do it in a little bit if not.
Well,
That's
no,
fine.
I
So
wanted to
glad.
make sure that we welcomed the School Association of School Librarians. Would you all please stand so we can officially welcome you and thank you for what you do? Thank you so much for being with us today.
I know. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
You said you have a pool of money, and you didn't say how much.
Yes, sir. Well, we don't have the pool of money yet, but we've requested the pool of money, 100 million.
So how much did you request?
I requested 100 million for that innovation fund.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Walters?
Madam Chair, I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but with your permission, I'll jump in. I just
right
wanted
ahead.
to remind our board members and those who may be joining us that today is the 5th anniversary of Parkland. And for those of us in school safety, it is a very somber day. But it's also a time for us to thank the people throughout South Carolina that are keeping our schools safe. And in particular, tomorrow is National School Resource Officer Day. So if you see your SRO in the school, give them a hug and a
Right.
pat on the back.
Exactly right. And thank you for that reminder. We greatly appreciate it. Anything else? Okay, thank you so much, Superintendent Weaver. We will now have our parliamentarian comments, so I would like to ask Mr. John Tyler to come forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my privilege to serve as general counsel for this great agency and as parliamentarian for the State Board of Education. March is approaching, and you're all excited, I know, not about March Madness, but about ethics filings. This is your friendly reminder. It's going to get less friendly as we get closer to the March 30th deadline of the need for your filing the Statement of Economic Interest with the South Carolina State Ethics Commission. You can do so. I know a few of you are new. We're going to send out an email and make sure you have that in the top of your inbox. I'm going to go through and make sure our board is current, because I don't want any of us to have to pay that $100 fee. But we'll make sure you have the website. It's ethicsfiling.sc.gov. You create a login, you fill out everything online. There's a 6-minute YouTube video. If that doesn't interest you, you can call me. I can help with some simple things. I can put you in touch with the right person at the Ethics Commission. Don't wait until the last day, because if you do have a question, you're going to want to get that question answered. And the last day, again, is March 30th, and let's all avoid that $100 fee. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tyler. Does anyone have any questions? I speak on behalf of all of us when we say we appreciate the reminders. Thank you so much.
Yes, we do.
We do have one individual signed up for public comment, so I would like to ask Tinley Middleton to please come forward. And as she comes forward, again, we would like to, we just do welcome all of you here who are here with the South Carolina Association of School Librarians. As we begin, we do appreciate your interest in public education. You are allotted 5 minutes for your comments. Since we are hearing comments for the first time, it's our policy to accept those comments as information. And if we have any questions or additional information, we'll contact you at a later date. But thank you for understanding our procedures in advance.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Good afternoon. My name is Tenley Middleton. I am a school librarian and legislative chair for the South Carolina Association of School Librarians. I'm here with other librarians today to meet with our legislators to talk about the positive impact that our libraries have on student learning and share our concerns. Serving students through school library collections, lessons, and programs is our main focus, so I thought it would be fitting to share some of our students' comments. It is Valentine's Day, so we asked our students what they loved about the library. Jordan, a 10th grader in an upstate high school, said, "I love my library because of my librarian. The thing that makes a library environment feel safe, comfortable, and inviting is the librarian. Our librarian is the best. She always makes me laugh and recommends the best books." Ellie, a 2nd grader in an upstate elementary school, said, "I love my library because the books are free. Sometimes you even play games, and the library has soft chairs." A high school student in the Midlands region said, "It is a safe and relaxing, calming atmosphere to do my work." Cass, a high school student in the Midlands region, said, "It's filled with exciting books to read and discover." Numerous studies spanning multiple states and decades have shown that a high-quality library program positively impacts student achievement, graduation rates, and mastery of academic standards. These correlations are most pronounced in our vulnerable student populations, including students of color, low-income students, and students with disabilities. This is why the focus of the South Carolina Association of School Librarians is that every student in South Carolina should have a high-quality library program with a certified librarian at the helm. I'm sure you are all aware of the teacher shortage, but you may not know that school librarian has been on the critical needs list for over a decade. We must do our best to recruit and retain librarians so that our state's children receive all the benefits of a strong library program. Young readers need access to a variety of books from which they can learn about different perspectives, gain an understanding of others' lives, and develop critical thinking skills. For many children in South Carolina, the school library is their only way to access these books. Librarians use our specialized training and expertise to build a library collection that meets the needs of their community. We are partners with parents in guiding the reading lives of their children while maintaining our core value of intellectual freedom. It is common to think of books when you think of librarians, but we also provide direct instruction to our students on a wide variety of content subjects and topics. In addition to collaborating with the core content teachers, libraries are a place for students to explore, learn, and build skills in information, media, and digital literacies. We brought information to share with you that details the impact school librarians have on learning. I am a librarian, after all. We cite our sources. I would like to close my statement with an invitation. Librarians all over the state are doing amazing things in their schools. We would love to have you visit and see our librarians and their students in action. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ms. Middleton. We appreciate you being here today. And we appreciate all of you who've joined us and your commitment to the students within the schools where you work and just across our state. So thank you for that. We will now move on to our state board items and our committee reports. The Policy and Legislative Committee did not meet today. I would like to recognize Mrs. Lee to present the Educator Professions Committee report.
Thank you, Chair Stapleton. The Education Professions Committee approved 3 action items earlier this morning. Item 1 is a new Educator Preparation Program approval recommendation, Lander University Bachelor of Science in Middle Level Education, grades 5 through 8. Item 2 is identification of critical need subject areas for 2023-24. And item 3 is the identification of critical need geographic areas, schools, for 2023-24. The committee did not hear any information items this morning. The Education Professions Committee placed the 3 action items on the consent agenda.
Thank you so much for that report. Does anyone have any questions for Mrs. Lee? All right. Well, then that report serves as a motion from the committee. It does not require a second. Is there any discussion about anything she shared?
Joe.
With no questions and all in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? The motion carries. The Standards Learning and Accountability Committee did not meet today, but I would like to recognize Mr. Walters to present the Educator Licensure Committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had a marathon session this morning. Went on for quite a while, and we had a total of 25 cases. 2 of those were applications for initial certification. Both of those were denied. We had 2 cases that were for unprofessional conduct, and then we had 21 cases that involved a breach of contract. And I'd just like to add that I want to commend the Office of General Counsel, in particular, Mr. Gunner and Ms. Haddon. They have done some hard, serious work in getting these cases to us in a timely fashion. And it's just the 2 of them right now doing it, and but whereas we used to have 8, 10, 12 cases a session, now it's 20 and 25. We see that the dates, the turnaround time from when they get to the department till they get to us is considerably shorter. And so I just wanted to publicly commend them for their work.
Thank you so much, and we all agree. Thank you so much for all you do. It really is amazing how much you can accomplish between the two meetings and once we come back together again. So we're so appreciative
Thank you.
of the legal department. Thank you. I know, thank you, Mr. Walters, for your report. The full board licensure committee did meet today, so we were able to ratify the cases that Mr. Walters referred to. In our full board educator licensure meeting, we did have 2 additional cases for consideration, and that resulted in an application denial and also a permanent revocation. So that was a total of 27 cases that were resolved today. And as always, we echo what Mr. Walters said. We thank the Office of Legal Counsel for all of their work in helping us make that happen and preparing those cases each month. We will move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda has been discussed and action items moved to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Board Member Walters made a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Dr. David O'Shields seconded that motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by like sign. That motion carries. I would like to ask Director Kimberly Knight from the Office of School Transformation to come forward to share updates for us regarding Allendale County and Williamsburg County School Districts.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Just a brief report, giving you an update on Allendale County School District. On January 19th, 2023, the Allendale Fairfax High School Bow Tie Club hosted its first luncheon. Their guest speaker for this event was Terrence Tucker. Mr. Tucker talked to the young scholars about the importance of dressing for success, and all of the young men had on bow ties. They looked great. The district hosted a combined board and community meeting on Monday, January 23rd in the multipurpose room of Allendale Fairfax High School. And the district also received a check for $12,275 from the SRP Federal Credit Union for the 2022 High School Affinity Debit Program. In Williamsburg County School District, Kingstree Middle Magnet School of the Arts introduced a video broadcast production room for their students. And the students have access to technology that will enable them to produce network quality shows. And the district partnered with the Blueprint Leadership Academy to offer mentoring and leadership to high school students. That kickoff event was held on January the 12th. This concludes my report.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Smack? Thank you so much for the report and for being here today. Wow, that meeting went very quickly, but I must say, as we shared, the reason that's able to happen is because of all of the committee work that happens prior to this regular meeting. So we are so grateful to all of the board members for the time that you put in preparing for a day like today, but also the work that you do in those meetings prior to our full board meeting. Regarding any other business, is there any other business to come before us today? All right. I do ask that all board members make sure that you have turned in your travel forms. Please give those to Tracy before you leave today. And I believe with no other business, I will welcome a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion from Dr. O'Shields, a second.
Second.
Second from Ms. Kriminger. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this meeting is adjourned.